What's your name?
Warden.
Stay.
Introducing Warmonger, a knight that actually uses her swords and doesn't get parried because they accidentally changed guards during their combos. Actually, I think Warden is the only hero that has gotten multiple reworks where a 600 millisecond light still remains. You think about that, okay? Long and hard, and let me know what you come up with. I want that on my desk by 5 p.m. Now for those that are still Warden enjoyers, I get you. I really do. I really do. He's the face of For Honor and one of the best looking heroes in the game. One of the first heroes to get a femboy skin, and I'm so proud of this community, man. So proud. Lots of people started comparing it to Melina from Elden Ring, and they say Ubisoft is trying to capitalize on Elden Ring's popularity. And while I think that would be an excellent business idea and move, I really just think they wanted to make an elvish looking long-haired knight. She really does look beautiful though, I tell you what. Now if you're like me, the first time you saw the For Honor trailer, oh my goodness, you were shooketh. My wildest dreams came true where I could play as the inner weeb samurai that I am, and also the true king of Gondor, ready to take back his throne and free the people of Middle Earth. Now, I love samurais as much as the next guy, but knights, or in particular, Warden, was what drew me into this game the most. I was really excited to finally be a knight and smash in other people's faces with my sword, and even have swords in the trailer, which is fantastic, and I was such a huge fan of The Lord of the Rings at the time. I remember the first time I watched it in theaters with my family, and fell asleep halfway through because, you know, I was a kid, I was boring as heck, but only then to watch it when I was a little bit older and be truly captivated by its cinematography. Warden reminded me of Lord of the Rings when I saw him in For Honor, and I really expected so much out of him, and expected him to be like Aragorn. In some ways, I got what I wanted when it came to the fashion side of For Honor, but when it came to the gameplay, it sometimes felt like I was playing as Gollum. I quite literally only play this hero because how they look. Trait 1 Warden embodies the Holy Crusade, and Trait 2 Warden is just a female Warden who slapped on some armor, ready to peg some pirate players. That's so messed up. You cannot pay me enough to play this hero for more than a couple games. You could not. Now I know this is gonna be a hot take, and a lot of people are gonna be upset with it, but Warden's moveset is basic bitch boring compared to all DLC heroes, and a lot of heroes in general that have come out. It makes sense for any game to add new heroes to their rosters that would add something new or unique to keep the current player base interested in their game for at least 5 years, and For Honor has been alive for a long time and has held a consistent player base. However, new shit trap, black prior, bulwark flip, dodge cancel recoveries on every single attack, full block recoveries on every single attack, mind you. Things like this keep the player base guessing if we should just commit Sudoku or endure this painful journey until For Honor dies, or until For Honor kills us. My friend told me that someone killed a bunch of people and was saying Apollyon's voice lines while he was doing it or something like that. I didn't really believe him until he sent me this clip on Instagram. Bear sent me a video about some For Honor guy did some serious crime. And it's in French, so I can't understand. Why'd you send me in French? I don't get French. Oh, there it is! What the fuck? No way! No way! Comment on appelle, s'il te plaît? I think he said it was like for sheep, run for sheep or something. No way! Mom, look! Mom, it's For Honor! This is terrible news. Terrible news. I think this happened last year. I don't know what to say. My heart goes out to those families. For Honor is a bad influence. Don't play For Honor. Instead, play Red Dead Redemption. Let's take a look at Old Warden just for nostalgia's sake, and so I can get into my next talking point. I want you to see how much he's changed since his rework. Look at this. Look how far he runs. You see that animation? Ubisoft does not animate like this anymore. Look how far that goes. Let's see the feint. Oh, you can barely feint. You can't feint as long as you used to. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's the... Okay, this is the only thing that they've changed. Besides giving a Valiant Breakthrough and unchargeable, undodgeable, or unblockable heavy attacks. I don't have Valiant Breakthrough anymore. Oof, that is rough. But the lights, these lights are literally the same. They're literally the same. Look at that. That's a wimpy light if I've ever seen one. Oh man. The zone attack is the same too. But I like the animation. Holy crap, look at this. Oof, that is clean. That is super clean. We all have eyes, right? Well, at least I think we all do. But his bash is incredibly slow and wasn't as good as the live version, so that's the biggest change we can see here. The animations look smooth and maybe a little bit clunkier and slower. I think that's up for debate. A lot of people, when he did get reworked, a lot of people didn't like the chain side lights and it didn't feel as smooth, but that's just something that a lot of people were complaining about back in the day. But I digress. The main point I want to address is that if we take that out of context, everything is basically the same. He has the same lights, the same heavies with no new chains. All of his lights were 600 ms, maybe except for his top light because it had crushing chrono properties, and that was the only 500 ms one. But Mans did not even have that top heavy unblockable finisher, nor could he heavy after his own attack. At least from what I remember, because it's been like 5 freaking years, man. So now we all know how release Warden looked like, but let's have a gander at his first iteration of his rework. That's right, he's gotten multiple reworks throughout the lifespan of this entire game. And here's the funny thing, here's the kicker, guys. It kind of feels like he's got nothing new when we look at the big picture. Come season 7, around like 2018 in August, I think the first rework was live. Now this first rework basically changed how his bash worked. He was able to have 3 charges that force your opponent to make a read. When he was first released, he only had like a soft feint version of level 2 bash, but now they reworked it where you could hard feint it, and he was able to have 3 really interesting and strong mind reading bashes that would punish your opponent and force them to make a read. Level 1 was just as original, level 2 was a slower level 1, and level 3 was a bash that allowed you to land a top heavy with hyper armor on his bash, so it was really good for trading. Keep in mind you could feint the level 3 bash, and that's what made it so strong. Now you could also like go 10 feet in front of him, and that's what made it look like a level 2 bash, and so it required a really good read. I will say I enjoyed the Warden mirrors just because there's a lot of mind games to it. And for the last tidbit, his top heavy chain finisher, they added unblockable properties to it, and it could be used for really good out of stamina pressure in my opinion. The second rework was around, I think it was either late December or early 2021, but December 2020 we knew that he was going to get another rework, and that actually changed a lot for Warden, because for Dominion it made him so that he could actually track people who dodge roll away from him. But this time they added Valiant Breakthrough, which was a roll catcher and a really nice animation, and I believe they added side heavy finisher unblockables as well, while also removing the dodge backwards shoulder bash, because at the time it was a really good defensive tool and it was quite annoying for a lot of heroes that didn't have tools to deal with that. And I believe the last iteration or the last changes that they gave him was the ability to pretty much shoulder bash out of every single attack. Before you could shoulder bash only out of like a light attack, but now you can do it after heavy finisher, all your mix-ups, a zone attack, whatever you want, baby. You could do that, and it embodied the spirit of being a shoulder bash hero once again. And really, that's the extent of his rework. So if we take a step back, we can really see that Warden hasn't really changed too much. All he's had is improvements to his shoulder bash game, and I think, sure, that makes him a really strong hero in that regard. But when it comes to his light and heavy mix-ups, he still feels the same. There's nothing that has changed with his inputs. In fact, with all these reworks, these past reworks, I think he's had 3 major reworks and a few adjustments here and there, they haven't even adjusted his side chain lights that are 600 ms still. The side light into top light is 500 ms, which is great, and I think a lot of people underestimate that, because I get hit by that so many times just because I really don't ever see Warden mains using that mix-up. But when I see a left side light into a right side light, it looks so janky and slow and feels like it's in a different universe of For Honor. It's like in a different multiverse of For Honor, when things were slower, when things were much more fun and unique. And if I'm missing any other reworks, let me know, but I think these are the main things that have made Warden into what he is today. Just another shoulder bash hero with more unblockables here and there. Over the years, everyone has had their own inputs on this hero, but for some reason, I can't fathom somebody who actually plays this game to leave Warden in this state. How can you be okay with this? I mean, he's really a strong hero, don't get me wrong, man, but come on, after so many reworks, couldn't we put less emphasis on his shoulder bash and maybe, you know, just give him strings like Warmonger? He's still the same hero when he was first released, and I know this can be a good thing in some ways, like retaining hero identity, but his kit was centered around his bash, which makes him a very boring swordsman, and it feels like I'm playing Bash Simulator. Let's take a Warlord. He has a strong headbutt, very fast, but his entire kit is not focused on his headbutt. When he was reworked, they reworked him so that he could throw out lights and heavy attacks. It works for Warlord because he can actually throw out lights, heavies, and his full block mix-up. The main reason Warmonger and Warlord can do these things is because they have enhanced lights, which emphasizes heroes to throw lights and heavy attacks, and not to focus on the bash for their main mix-up. And if you start focusing on the bash, then you kind of become predictable as well, so it's important to have good lights, and good heavy attacks. There's tons of issues with Warden, even after his rework, which is the craziest thing. His zone takes up so much stamina, then it leaves no mix-up for him afterwards, especially in teamfights, which I might add is the whole purpose of his rework and Ubisoft's balance philosophy right now. Now, Warden's zone has a huge hitbox and would be amazing for teamfights, but there's heroes that have just as good or even better zones than he does, and they use less stamina and can recover with dodge cancels and all that good stuff. Janhu with his undodgeable zone attack, Orochi's with his zone attack, it's really quick, and he can also dodge cancel out of it as well. Warmonger's, which is basically, I think Warmonger is really Warden 2.0. She can throw out like 3 zones before she runs out of stamina. Raider's zone, and the list can go on and on. Let us use zone more so we can get deflected, please. His 600 chain lights really do look wimpy though, especially in today's age where everybody has like 500 ms light attacks. And the funny thing is his chain top light is 500 ms, so why didn't they standardize that a long time ago? It's the weirdest thing ever. Like I told you guys, interns are running the show. They did that with Raider's rework, so why wouldn't they just put the same amount of work into Warden? And the funny thing is, they probably put more work into Warden than they did with Raider over the years. He's gotten so many adjustments over the past life of For Honor. Valiant Breakthrough is also an issue with Warden because it sticks to whatever enemy you're locked onto when you initiate it, and this can be tricky because it disables his ability to make his forward heavies less telegraphed in teamfights. You see this all the time with heroes that have bashes or like forward dodge heavies. They'll swap targets to make the animation look really funky, and you're like, what the fudge just happened? What's wrong with this game? But the main problem is that it just feels clunky even after swapping targets for a seemingly long period of time. It's like half a second and you're still targeted on the other guy. I think that should be a big priority for Warden if he ever does get adjusted in the future. And another big offender for Warden is his gosh dang feats. His feat selection is just poo-poo head. It's the most dull thing I've ever had to witness. Man's literally got no options in this department. He's got no maidens. His minion clears laughably average even with improved hitboxes on his heavies. And his minion clears laughably average even with the improved hitboxes on his heavy. Body count used to be great, but I think they nerfed it a little bit too much and nobody really wants to stay in mid anymore. I kid you not, I think being in mid is the most boring part about For Honor when you play Dominion. Nobody wants to be there, like I said. Conqueror really is just a useless feat in Dominion too because you cap bases so fast anyways. I think it might have some use in Breach and capping bases because those actually take quite a long time, but they've pretty much forgotten about Breach anyways, and that's besides the point because they just focus on Dominion series, so why not, you know, fix that feat and make it a little bit faster? I don't know, make it cap in like 2 seconds. Now this feat, come at me. This feat is a man who goes balls deep. I like to use this feat as soon as I start a fight, so I can assert my dominance and also take double damage. Inspire is probably the best out of the tier 2s, but Threatened Combat can be useful just to survive that extra 2 seconds after revenge. I've never seen Fiat be more useful for anything besides getting your own teammates out of stamina, I'm not gonna lie. It's a great way to ruin someone else's day though. Thanks Ubisoft. As for his 3rd tier, second one is probably the only thing you should be running. They nerfed the healing, so it's kind of the doo-doo, but you know, it's better than nothing, and the only thing you can take besides that is Pugna Mortis, and it's a bomb. But we all know how bombs work. They're working as intended.
A lot of stuff happening here. Okay, we got bombs. Where? Good aim. Where? Oh! There you guys go. Here's a present. All right, everybody gets a bomb. You get one. Everybody gets one.
For the 4th tiers, things get a little bit better, and honestly are the saving grace for Warden, as you really want to be running a morale booster because it's an attack buff for your entire team, since Catapult rarely hits anyone unless you or me and you're just chilling there with your monitor off.
Yes.
He's gonna use his 4th, watch out! Oh my god! The nerf on healing Stalwart Banner can help sustain, but most people want to be able to swing team fights drastically, like Fire Flask with big damages and Spear Storm and all that good stuff. So, you know, I feel like Stalwart Banner, it can be useful in some ways, but it's definitely not as game-changing. So what did we learn in class today, Jimmy? Well, basically, we need to give him better tier 1s and tier 2 feats. There's plenty of great tier 1 and tier 2 feats for heroes in general. I honestly think it would be really cool if we could swap more feats around. Just not all of them, but just a little bit more. So some feats that I would choose for Warden is maybe Fast Recovery or Tireless for better stamina regeneration, since his zone takes up so much freaking stamina in the first place. If they're not gonna fix that, then at least have him be playable in that regard in Dominion. That would be nice, and I'd even take Rush to sprint faster, since I honestly believe he has the best running animation in my opinion. It looks shagadelic. That's just my opinion though, since I've heard people say they don't really like it because It feels like he shakes too much or something like that, but I digress. Throw farther feet, I would also like that as well, but I think it would really mess up with max punishes because it messes up some of Shigoki's punishes too. It would be neat as Warden because, like I said, his animation for throwing is simply badass. I'm telling you, there's so much cool shit with Warden, and it's just 5 years of For Honor evolution, and we've barely even tapped the vastness of Warden's potential. One thing that would be interesting, since they keep saying he's a duelist, apparently, is to give him Deadly Duet, just like Nusha. Now, I think this is a neat idea because Nusha, she kind of thrives in team fights too. She has really good trap mechanics for dealing damage in externals, so that can be helpful. And Warden is also really good in externals too, with his unblockable heavies and with his edging the bash technique. But if he does isolate someone and fight someone in duels, which does happen quite frequently in 4v4, then this would be a great feat to have since he is mainly a duelist. I think that would be really amazing and would make him a lot more fun to play and just give him more versatility within his playstyle. I certainly think that these few feat changes would help him in the 4v4 aspect a lot, but I surely don't want to give the devs ideas and give Warden Kiai. I'm really surprised they haven't removed that feat yet because that feat is just the most cancerous thing I think it's one of the most cancerous thing in the entire game next to Blackbriar's no fun button. Tier 2 feats that I think would be fun for him to have is Tainted Gift. Now if you guys don't know what Tainted Gift is, this feat allows you to regain health to teammates when you execute someone. It's such a fun feat with Hitakiri, and Hitakiri is the only one that has that. But spreading the love, baby, spreading the love and the cheeks with this would be really beneficial for Warden and just heroes in general. I love this feat. It's a really cool thing, and if we're gonna stick with, hero identity or whatever, which Ubisoft hasn't been doing, then we should give this feat to other people. Chilling Stare would let him do some nice debuffing in team fights, but I think the one that I'd really like for Warden is Righteous Deflection, so you can get some damage reduction when you parry. I think the only one that really has this is Hitakiri and Lawbringer, and maybe Shigoki as well. And that's pretty much all I would suggest. What would you guys like to add for Warden's feats? Because I think his 3s and 4 tiers are okay, but I'll stop here because I'm talking too much about For Honor. And I'd like to hear your ideas for these feat changes for him or any other hero for that matter. And the question is, do we need more feats? Or do we want to focus on rebalancing some of the unbalanced or unfun feats? You let me know down below. So how are we going to fix the poster child? I still see tons of Wardens out there simply because I think they really enjoy his fashion, but I'm so incredibly unsatisfied by Ubisoft's balanced decisions for him and for some parts of this game in general. But that's why I'm making these videos, you see. What can we do for my boy Warden so he doesn't go home with bruised shoulders each night? As always, I want to kiss. Keep it simple, stupid, because Power Creep is a cold-hearted bitch. Let's make him fun, but not annoying to fight against like so many heroes these days. First thing I do to him, giggity, is give him more strings. This includes speeding up all of his chain lights to 5 on our mess, just standard like every single other hero, so you don't have to double light every time to add more mix-up potential to his kit. New chains would include light, 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 heavy, light, heavy, light, light, heavy, light, heavy. This, in my opinion, would make him feel more like a swordsman instead of thrashing around violently with full plate armor for God knows why. The zone stamina change is also something I'd urge the developers to change, as it would help him so much more in team fights and not make him seem like an old man. The next thing I like to add is probably hopeful and wishful thinking, and I'm coping, but a new parry riposte animation would be awesome. I'm looking at these executions and man, I'm just thinking of the potential to actually make him use other moves besides his bash. Look at this and tell me you don't want Warden half swording or bashing someone with his hilt. Look at this, like what the heck, Ubisoft? So much missed opportunities. After a parry, Warden could literally poke them in the eye and do a blind effect, like how Gladiator does with his parry post with his shield, his parry buckler thing, and then continue his chain mix-up with the bash, chain lights, heavies, or finisher heavies. This is just a cool idea. It doesn't sound overpowered. As long as the stamina damage is not incredibly high, then it's fine. Look at this execution. Warden quickly bashes someone with his shoulder, and I feel like that'd be a neat addition to his kit, and honestly would make him, give him more personality. Parry punishes in general are just fun things to do, and they don't even have to be entirely useful to someone's kit. It just has to make a hero feel more fun or unique to play. And this is the identity that I'm talking about. Heroes with cool parry punishes, we know them for that. Warlord's parry punishes, Lawbringer's parry punishes, and even Gladiator's parry punishes. These things we all remember, and we're like, oh damn, this is cool. We don't just see, a parry and then go for a light, a parry, and then we go for a heavy. There's more things to For Honor than just a light and then a heavy, you know? Now, if you've noticed in the past videos, I really advocate for heroes to have more than 2 chains, as heroes that only have 2 hit strings like Yorm are boring, and the only thing that you really live for with Jormungandr is his Nut Slam or his big damage combos, which are incredibly satisfying, and these 2 hit strings are more optimal for dealing faster DPS, but I prefer the fun factor of having more moves to throw out than just dealing as much damage as possible in the shortest amount of time. And that's pretty much it though. I feel like these changes, they can incorporate pretty easily if they actually listen to the players who want this game to be more fun and enjoyable instead of a journey of who can break each other's monitors faster and whoever can say more slurs to each other. And so that's really all I have to say about Warden. You know, we've come towards the end of the video. A lot of ideas have been pushed out, and as you can see in the gameplay, Warden, you know, he can hold himself, do pretty well in Dominion from time to time, but if you're against like a lot of the top tiers, and you've got a lot of feeders on your team or people who don't know how to play correctly, or just like to feed revenge, or just like play while they're drunk, you know, it can be a tough matchup for Warden. These are my ideas and my thoughts since I've been playing For Honor for like 5 years with Warden. Hope you guys have been enjoying the video so far. Let me know what you guys think, your reworks, your ideas down below. I've always liked to see them because, you know, people have interesting takes on it. You don't have to agree with my thoughts. It's just good to get a diverse, wide range of opinions down in the comments. And it really helps me out in some ways too, so thank you. But thank you so much for watching as always, everybody. Hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, you know what to do. The box is going to sleep now. Bye bye. See you later.